Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of The Real Housewives of Dubai, Season 1, Episode 6. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. Now, y'all, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. When the episode first opens up, Brooks and Ayan go furniture shopping for her house because she wants to change it and whatnot. So she's telling us in her confessional how much she loves her son and how she can't remember what her life was like before her son. And I totally understand that because I love my son, because and it's like an indescribable love. It's not like something you can even put into words. Like when you become a parent, it's just something about the way that you love your kids. It's like, I don't know, I just can't even really put it into words. So she said that she's raising him how her mom raised her because she really enjoys how her mom raised her and she thinks she turned out great. She was like, my style of parenting is militant. Oh, okay. I was not expecting her to describe her parenting style as militant. No. We don't want a militant parent, Brooks. Girl, what? So they cop a squat and she tells Chanel that she's doing a little beach pool day because, her best friends are in town and she wants to introduce them to the group. And Chanel was like, oh, okay, well, I don't do water, okay? My wigs, my creams, everything, all expensive. Okay, I'll just be chilling by the pool and chilling by the water. And baby, Chanel said, listen, this body is insured, okay? So I'm not getting in the water and that's that on that. So she was like, well, you don't have to get in the water. I just want you to come, just wear your beach attire and just hang out. Brooks, you did not have on beach attire. You had on Studio 54 attire. And girl, you had your little sequins frock on. I was like, baby, this is a whole fool. Anyway, Brooks said her and Chanel fight like cats and dogs, but then they go right back to hanging out because that's just what they do. Okay, they'll fight and then at that night they're at dinner because they're sisters for life. And it's giving frenemy, but it's giving y'all know how to handle it. Okay, it's like, Chanel gonna be Chanel, Brooks gonna be Brooks, but at the end of the day, we gonna be cool. And that's that on that. 7 days until the wedding. Child, I feel like I'm talking about married at first sight. Not 7 days until the wedding, honey. I hope y'all speed this wedding on up. But then again, if you speed the wedding up, then Stanberry really wouldn't have a storyline. So, yeah, let's just continue. So, Caroline and Sergio and her family, they're going to the hotel where she's an ambassador. Basically, her job is to show off the hotel, take pictures, give it the zhuzh that should be given so that everybody can come to said hotel. Baby, that's my kind of job. How do I become an ambassador of somebody? Like, I need the ambassadorship ASAP. Child, this is the first time that she's seen them in years. She says she sees them like every few years, not very often, and they're working on their relationship. So the parents go to get settled in, right? And Sergio is asking Caroline if she wants tiki tiki. Now, at first I was like, what is tiki tiki? Honey, I don't know. It was given, my name is Chicky, 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 Chicky. At first I was like, what is tiki tiki? Child, but tiki tiki is the sexuals, honey. It's the segs. So she's like, no, I don't want tiki tiki. My parents are here. Ma'am, you are overgrown, okay? Almost the same age as the parents. I am sure your parents know that you're having the sex. Girl, they know you're having the sex with this young man. She said he wakes up with tiki tiki on his mind, goes to sleep with tiki tiki on his mind, eats, sleeps, poops, breathes, everything tiki tiki, which is why I don't understand why he's marrying Stanberry. Not saying that their love couldn't be what their love is, but it's like the opposite of being a sugar baby, but you don't want no sugar. It's like she decided to be a sugar mama, but didn't want to give no sugar. Like, girl, you're going to have to give it up. Like, this just ain't making no sense. I mean, at the end of the day, you love who you love, but y'all should have just been a drive-by. You know how you had a little young thing come drop you off some peen and then he hits the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more till I call you. Honey, don't come unless I summon you. And that's what this should have been. Like, just come over, drop that thing off, and then go on about your business. Because Stanberry just ain't it, honey. She's not interested in that way. He has too much stamina for her. And she never says yes to anything. So I don't know how this is going to work. In the next scene, Nina and Lisa go for, high tea. And here comes Stanberry. Hey, girl. So Lisa was like, look, there's no tension. I give people the energy that they give to me. Okay? Energy to me is important. And I only give energy to those that are important. Not trying to be mean. Girl, it's okay. We know what you mean. Period. Dot. So Chanel and her couture feathers, honey, they show up. Hey, girl. So Nina tells Stanberry that she hopes that she didn't upset her by siding with Sergio. No, it's okay, because you shouldn't have a bunch of yes friends around you. Somebody got to tell you no sometimes. And Caroline was basically like, no, you didn't hurt my feelings. I just kept going to everyone until someone agreed with me. Well, child, at least she kept it real, honey, because most people are like, no, you're fine. But the whole time they pissed. So, I mean, I guess she was honest, but why do you just want a bunch of yes people? That's dangerous, because then you make bad decisions and then you go like, why didn't y'all tell me? Well, honey, when we try to tell you something, you have a full-on attitude. So therefore, and thus and such, you on your own. So Stanberry said, her last wedding, she did everything to please everybody else, and this time she's not going to do that. She's going to be happy and she's going to enjoy her wedding. Now, quiet as it's kept, I think Stanberry just wants to have one big lavish party. It's not even about the wedding. Honey, she could care less if Sergio even shows up. Sergio, if you can't make it, that's cool. Because Stanberry just wants to have a party. And that's what I think. So Ayan starts describing, her culture and how she was supposed to marry her cousin. Here goes Stanberry. I said, what's now? What? Basically, girl, what are you saying? And so Ayan was like, yeah, it's very normal in my culture. So she's explaining that. So then the server comes to take their order. And y'all know I'll pay attention to everything. And Nina is ordering those damn fries again. Nina, why can't you ever say please? It's like you just bark out orders and you never say please. That just really irks me. Every time she orders those fries, she's just like, yeah, and bring us this and bring us that. And we need 2. And also ketchup. It's like, please, thank you. They don't do manners over there? Girl, because you came from San Antonio. And I know they do manners down there. Girl, what is going on with you? That's just a side note. So then Chanel starts talking to her about the party. And she brings up how Stanberry was grouping Lisa and her together. And she's like, I don't think you should do that because we're 2 different people. Like, she does what she does and I do what I do. And Caroline is like, well, I just felt attacked. Lisa said, attacked? Girl, how did you feel attacked? She simply addressed you being absent from her event. It's so convenient the way people that act like Karens every now and again, the way that they come up with their vocabulary to describe a certain person and or event. Why did you feel attacked? And this really tripped me out when she said this. She was like, yeah, I was drinking. I may have misread it. So Lisa said, I just feel that that's the wrong word to use. She's like, oh, okay, so you were aggressive. Was it aggressive, Stanberry? Or can you just not take someone calling you out? You had the same issue with Chanel. Nothing that she was doing was aggressive. You saying that you want your husband, or I don't know if y'all are married already, soon to be, whatever it is, to get his fellatio from a married woman, that was some pretty aggressive speak if you ask me. So Lisa felt what Stanberry said was trashy. I concur. Referring to a married woman to suck your man's peen is disrespectful. Okay? And that should be against the law, honey. It's just disgusting. She's like, well, I don't remember if I said that. Like, if I was being sarcastic. Stanberry, you know very well what you said. And you remember what you said. Like, girl, please. Just own it, honey. It was in poor taste. Just own exactly what it is that you said. So then she came up with a few more excuses. But where's the apology? That's what I was waiting for. So Lisa tells her, she's like, listen, I always liked you. I don't have a problem with you. Even though I've heard a lot. She's like, see, so that's passive aggressive right there. Ma'am, you just sat here and made up a bunch of excuses about you not eating and, you were lightheaded and you felt like you needed to eat something before you actually drank something. It's just giving a bunch of, I don't want to own what I said and how I behaved. So I'm just going to come up with a bunch of excuses as to why I was a little bit tipsy. Anyway, the same way you lied about having to do wedding stuff when you didn't want to show up to Lisa's event because of Chanel. Stanberry, you like to lie, child. You got a little lying problem. And Lisa, I love the way you handled it, honey. You're so classy based and whatnot. It's a far cry from College Hill, Miami, honey, because Milan didn't play. Honey, when she was going by that last name, she didn't play. So they ended up squashing it or whatever, and I'm guessing that things are going to be cordial between the two of them. Then they have a little bit of a laugh, and Chanel asked if they did everything properly at this high tea. And of course, Stanberry was like, I mean, y'all did good. I mean, it's like y'all are going to high tea and I'm going to the club. Yeah, you're always off, Stanberry, but that's okay. Moving forward. In the next scene, Sarah's getting glammed for her hosting event for the Global Citizens Gala. She says she's been an ambassador for years, and while she's getting ready, Chanel shows up. So she's telling Sarah how she spoke to Brooks's therapist, right? She was like, yeah, I spoke to the therapist, honey, while drinking wine, and he told me I needed to water my garden. Now, I think that he didn't actually mean water a literal garden. I think what he meant was there are some things that you need to nurture and some things that you need to work on. But, Chanel took it literal, right? She took it verbatim. She took it verbatim. She's like, I live in an apartment, but I have 3 fake plants, so I'm going to water them. They show Chanel, child. She is drenching these fake plants in water, telling the plants that the psychologist said that it will bring her happiness. Girl, what? Oh, Chanel. Chanel was made for some type of TV, honey. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a sitcom. I don't know if it's a documentary. I don't know if it's a reality show. But she was made for this, honey. She ain't new to this. She is true to this. So Sarah goes, I still think you need to try hypnotherapy. So then in the confessional, Sarah was saying how she's tried all types of therapy. And, she's pretty much turned her life around by doing therapy, right? So she looks at Chanel and she's like, you need to do the hypnotherapy so you can go back to your childhood. So she goes, yeah, well, I only have one issue, and that's my dad. This is what Chanel is telling Sarah. So Sarah goes, well, it's not too late to become someone like me. I was not born like this. Well, we know, child, because Brooks showed the before and after pictures. Now, that's neither here nor there, but we know you weren't born like that. I'm just saying. The way Chanel looked at her, like, now, why would I want to be anyone other than my fabulous self? That's the way Chanel was looking at Sarah. So then she tells her, to be a person that people crave. You want people to crave your energy. Ma'am, she's fine. We're craving her every Wednesday night, honey. It's perfectly okay. Chanel said in her confessional, I'm very impressed by her being honored, but the preaching has got to stop. Like, it's too much. So then Sarah writes kind on Chanel's arm. She said, you don't have to write it on my arm. It's in my bloodstream. I am kind. I know that's right, child. I like Sarah, but I hope she doesn't think she's perfect. Or I hope she doesn't think she's to be idolized, because no, honey, that's not going to work for me. It's coming off as very judgmental. It's giving judgy boots. So then they go out and Sarah does her speech as the host, and she asks them to repeat this mantra. Chanel is such a good sport because, baby, she was all into that mantra. She was repeating it. I am somebody. I am kind and I am smart. Honey, she was repeating it. She was all in it. It's the next day and it's time for Brooks's party, right? So everyone looks fabulous. Chanel is telling Lisa about what happened because they're sitting off to the side. So she's telling her about what happened when they went to Sarah's event. And she was like, yeah, she implied that I wasn't kind. She's like, I felt like she was being very Jesus. So Lisa goes, what? If she was being very Jesus, that means that she loves everyone, right? She's like, she was being judgmental. So Chanel said, yeah, she was being judgmental. Let me tell you something. Lisa gonna have to correct Chanel every single episode if she don't do nothing else. And I love the way that she does it so sweet, not to embarrass her, but to give her the correct word that she should say in place of the word that she's using incorrectly. And I love it. Every single episode. She's like, no, girl, she's not an accessory. You mean an associate. She's not Jesus. She's judgy. And it's like Chanel always gets the first letter of the word that she means correct, but she needs a little help with the rest of it. But don't worry, honey, Lisa got your back. So, she's over there. She's like, yeah, Chanel is a new philanthropist. So, I guess she's just going around spreading the word. I don't know what Sarah is doing, but it was giving very much judgy. So Nina is on the other side telling Stanberry that her dad is in the hospital because of the virus and he had to learn to walk again. And she doesn't know how he's doing every minute of the day because she's all the way across the world. So here goes Sergio talking about, yeah, we lost our wedding singer as well because of that. What does that have to do with her dad? That is not the same thing as her father being in the hospital. You not being able to get a Mariah Carey impersonator is not the same as this woman's father being in the hospital. Sir, please pipe down. So then some of Chanel's friends show up. Hey, y'all. And I really love that this episode was all inclusive because I know that there were some things happening in Dubai and a lot of people were upset. So the fact that this episode, really showed the LGBTQIA community, I appreciated that. So once Chanel's friends show up, Sarah FaceTimes in and they're all like, "Oh, okay, Sarah, sorry you can't make it. Oh, she's the best. Here goes Chanel. Yeah, she's all about kindness and love." Child, Chanel ain't gonna let that go. So Nina, Lisa, and Chanel, they're talking about Nina's child's birthday party. So Nina tells Chanel that she looks like a big bird in the cage. Girl, you tried it. Not a big bird. So Chanel said, "Let me get on the Googler." Honey, so y'all know she gonna pull that phone out in a confessional so she can look up a word and translate it in a minute. So she pulls it out and notices that it's a big yellow bird. And she was like, "This yellow thing? I'm black. I would look great in yellow." Let me tell you something. I have got to figure out a way to be more like Chanel and turn things that are negative into positives. Because I'm just gonna say this to y'all, honey. When I read these comments, I'm like, these negative people, they are really starting to piss me off. But maybe I should take the negativity and turn it into a Chanel Ayan moment, honey. That's probably what I need to do, because I have never seen a person that can take someone calling them Big Bird, because in the States, honey, you call me Big Bird, those fighting words. Take someone calling them Big Bird and turn it into, "I look great in yellow." I know that's right, Chanel. Sarah, Chanel does not need help being kind, honey, and she don't need help with the judge. Moving forward. So she told Nina, "Listen, I'm fabulous. I will never look like one of those characters. I'm glamorous. I'm very couture." Honey, I know that's right, honey. She tried it. Tried to play in your face because you tall. And that's just crazy. Over on the other side, Brooks gets a text from her son saying that he's starving and he hates her. So she's just like laughing it off. "Brooks, if he's hungry, I just saw a plate full of appetizers down here, honey. Why not send that up to him? I'm not understanding why you kikiing like ain't nothing happening. Unless he's at the house and this is someplace different. Maybe that's what's going on. But in any event, you should have made sure he ate before you left." So then she brings up that he's going to boarding school. And so she's asking what people thought. Because she's like, "I'm thinking about sending him to boarding school." She said he's been on the waiting list since he was 4. And I decided that he's going to go at 11. She's decided that he was going to go at 11, right? So then Stanberry was like, "Oh, okay. Is he excited?" She's like, "He doesn't know yet." Ma'am. So you put this little sweet baby on the waiting list to ship him off since 4 years old and decided at 11 that he will go, but it's unbeknownst to him? Oh, where they do that at? And child, I don't even want my baby in regular school, okay? I really prefer for him to be homeschooled, honey, but he want to escape, child. He's like, "Mama, please let me go somewhere and be around my peers." "Ma'am, honey, I just need a little break." I'm like, "Not you need a break from me. I'm great." Not a break from me. And also, I don't trust people with my child. I really do not. I would miss him too much, but everybody parents differently, honey, to each their own. If you want to send your child to boarding school, then be my guest. So Caroline goes, "Look, I went to boarding school from 6 to 18. That definitely explains a lot. That explains her detachment when it comes to affection, because she probably felt abandoned. She felt like no one loved her, so she doesn't know how to give love. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not diagnosing her, but I'm just saying this explains a lot as it relates to Stanberry, because she's in a relationship with Sergio and she's very hands off." So then Brooks goes, "Yeah, it's kind of like an overnight camp." No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Overnight camp, you stay overnight and your parents come get you. Not ship you off and have you live there permanently under the advisement of someone that's a stranger. Like, what? So in the confessional, Caroline is like, "Yeah, that's the issue with being newly rich. They do what they think is best." She's like, "I was traumatized from going to boarding school because I was just trying to get through it. And then when I got home, I hated my parents. I resented them for sending me off. It just was not a good thing." So she tells Brooks, "Listen, you need to prepare him for boarding school." She absolutely does. There is no way I could send my sweet baby away. As much as he works my nervous system and as much as I just want to sit quiet sometimes, there is no way that I could send him away. I don't think that's a good idea. Back over on the other side of the pool, Nina and Chanel are having a moment and she gets really emotional. She's like, "Listen, I can't be listening to everything that you're saying to me, Chanel, right now because my dad is in the hospital. I'm overwhelmed. Everybody wants everything from me. I can't get to my family, and I'm just having a breakdown. So they send Sergio over there to be nosy. Here comes the toy boy trying to get in the middle. Sir, go away. So he goes over. He's like, it's okay, Nina. Because when he was sent over, Caroline goes, yeah, make sure you take up for Nina. See, this is the kind of mindset right here that causes problems. They're not doing anything to Nina. She's having a breakdown. They're comforting her in this moment. They immediately shut down the conversation and they're being there for her. See, this is the kind of person that you are, and this is why people don't like you. This is exactly why. Moving forward. In the next scene, Caroline is having dinner with her parents, her dad. And what does this daughter have on? Ma'am, where are your clothes? Let me tell you something. It ain't no way I could go around A, my elders this way, and B, my grandfather. This is your granddaddy. Girl, if you don't put some clothes on. Girl, you are 14 years old. Girl, where are your clothes? I was like, oh my goodness, child. Anyway, she's talking to her dad, right? She's like, well, you know, his parents paid him not to marry me. And they also cried 3 or 4 times, but it wasn't from joy. I mean, well, you are you. But now it makes sense why she doesn't want to sit with them. I'm not about to sit with some people that paid my spouse not to marry me. They don't like her. They don't give a damn about Stanberry. So why on earth would I sit with them? It's just not making no sense. So I kind of understand why she doesn't want to sit with Sergio's family. So she's like, well, you know what? He's young. Because even after me, if we don't work out, he can still remarry. But I'm at the end of my life. So, you know, I'm kind of keeping him out of trouble and bringing him up. Girl, not you raising him. Child, I guess Phaedra was right. You are marrying your son. And girl, that don't even sound right. Not you raising him. Anyway, so her dad tells her about a woman that he wanted to marry, but the family wasn't keen on him marrying her, so they didn't get married. So she tells him that Sergio actually lied about his age. He said he was 31 when they met and he was actually 27, and she met him when he was 24. And right then and there is when I would have threw him back. Because baby, you're 24. What can you do with me and for me? Well, I know what you can do with me. Okay. But what can you do for me? Absolutely nothing. So like I said, I would have, but you know what? This is reminiscent to Diana Jenkins over there on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I think they get these young men to keep them young because, you know, you're as young as you feel. So if I have a young man and he's vibrant and he's ready to roll around and he's ready to hit the town and do all these things, that's going to make me feel young. So maybe that's why Caroline got her a youngin'. In the next scene, Brooks is preparing for some guests. Well, I mean, her staff is preparing for some guests. And I don't know that, yes, madame, whenever they say that to Brooks, I don't know if that's a thing there. Is that a cultural thing? But madame, I don't know. I just couldn't, I don't know, child. That right there, that's just too much for me. So Sarah shows up first, right? And then her 2 BFFs, they come over. Because Sarah wasn't introduced to them. She couldn't make it to the pool party. So she's going to be introduced to them tonight. So they sit down and they start to eat and they're chatting. And so Adam comes over and he sits down to eat with them as well. So Brooks is like, do you want mommy to cut you some chicken? Do you want me to slice you some chicken? And he said, yeah, sure. So then she tells the staff to slice him some chicken. Girl, why did you even ask? And why couldn't you slice your baby's chicken? Like, I'm all for a soft life. I am. But these are memories that they will never forget. And it only takes a minute to cut some chicken off of that bone. Girl. So this dinner is so cringe. Everybody's sitting here. You hear the forks clanking against the plates. And Adam gets up to be dismissed. He's such a cutie. So he gets up to leave. And after he's done with his chicken, he goes upstairs. And I'm watching the interaction between him and Brooks. And you can tell that he's alone a lot. You know, not judging, but I feel like he's probably alone a lot. So once Adam goes to bed, she sends her staff, Sarah, up to tuck him in. And so Sarah, her friend who's sitting at the table, she's like, you should tuck him in. And Brooke goes, no, I'm okay. Oh, okay. Well, there's that. So then Brooks, okay, because I want y'all to keep up with this part of the story. She asked Sarah her opinion on sending him to boarding school. So Sarah is like, you know, that's for people with no time. Majority of them are doing that because they don't have time for their kids. And she said, and then that makes the kids feel like they're abandoned. She's like, why would you send your kid away? So Brooks was like, well, that's not the point. Like, I want for him to succeed and I want him to excel. But why can't he do that with you? If you put him in a private school with stellar education, he can excel right here in Dubai with you. And who's to say that boarding school is going to help him excel? What if he gets to boarding school and he's upset all the time and he starts to act out? Like, there could be adverse effects to sending him away. So Sarah goes, can I say something to you? And I don't want you to take offense to it. And she's like, yeah. She's like, you need to be closer with him. Oh, child. And what she say that for? Brooke said, him putting his fingers in his plate, that's not going to fly with me. Like, for me, when I was growing up and I loved the way that I was brought up, we couldn't do that. So her friend is like, well, he's a kid. Okay. Now on this part, I'm going to have to agree semi with Brooks. He needs to understand proper etiquette when you're at a table. You don't eat with your fingers unless you're eating finger foods. Yes, he is a child, but it's her job as his parent to tell him right from wrong. So when he gets in, mixed company, he understands that we don't eat our food with our hands unless we're eating chicken on a bone. If I slice you chicken, that's to be eaten with a fork and a spoon. So I kind of understood. So then her friend was like, yeah, she's cold-hearted. She's like, no, I am not cold-hearted. I grew up where when you were around adults, children should be poised. And so Brooke starts to get defensive, baby. Because her friend was piping up and speaking his speech, and Sarah was saying what she was saying, and Sarah is trying to get Brooks to see the error of her ways. But she's like, look, I don't like people to interfere in my child rearing. That's what Brooks is saying in her confessional. So Sarah is speaking her speech, and her friend is co-signing, and baby, Brooks is losing it. She's like, you need to shut up. You're not funny. And don't talk about me and my kid, okay? It's not funny. I was like, ooh, child. She's like, I did this on my own. I'm raising him by myself. She's like, and then for you to try to come and speak on my parenting. So then she turns it to Sarah. And Sarah is like, well, I asked you if I could say it and you said yes. So Brooks is like, but I don't know you like that. Okay, pause. First of all, Brooks lost her damn mind, honey, because if you speak to me like that, I would have politely escorted myself out. You will not, A, speak to me like I'm beneath you and talk to me crazy, and B, you will not embarrass me in front of company. When you must have lost your mind. So when you find your damn mind, then I will be back. And that should come with an apology. Girl, don't be taking your misplaced anger out on me. First of all, you're really upset with Sarah when she's the one that started this and she's the one that initially created the conversation that he just piggybacked off. I understand that that's your best friend and you don't feel like he should go against you and your parenting style. But at the same time, that's no reason for you to speak to him this way. So Sarah said, I'm not speaking to you crazy, but I can speak on behalf of a child. They need 3 things. They need love, care, and affection. So Sarah goes, and you need not to speak to people like that. She's like, look, I've known him from childhood. You don't really know him. He goes, so you need to respect me and not speak to me that way. She's like, no, you need to respect me in my house. Listen, I'm going to say this. I stay out of how other people parent their children because that's a touchy subject. You don't want nobody coming in telling you how to parent your child. I get it. But baby, you need to speak to me like I'm a human being. You are disrespectful all the way around. I don't like the way you speak to anybody. You're speaking to the staff in an improper manner. You're speaking to your friends like you don't give a damn about them. Like, I don't understand that. Sarah is the one that you're absolutely upset with. She does come across as, a know-it-all. But just in these few minutes in this scene, you can tell that he's craving more of something. Even me as a viewer, I can tell that something is missing. But I'm not going to tell somebody how to parent their child. So I understand and I see both sides. You're pissed because this woman is coming in and has met your son all of 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, she tells you need to spend more time with him like she has a microscope or a camera in your home 24 hours a day. You don't know him. And you don't know me. I asked you about boarding school. I did not ask you about my parenting style. So I understand that. But at the same time, you need to pipe down. Like, I don't know what's gotten into you in this wig, honey, but you need to calm it down. Because I feel like Brooks, again, I'm going to state this again. Your anger was misdirected. Like, don't treat or speak to your friend that way. You've known your friend since childhood, and you're just now meeting Sarah, and you treated Sarah with more respect than you're treating your longtime friend. And that's why I wouldn't be friends with you. But honey, you ain't trying to be friends with me no way. But I'm just saying, okay, get it together or leave it alone. But I also feel like, Brooks, you were giving very much mommy dearest. And I feel like she picked up on that. Okay, it was giving no wire hangers. It was giving that. So I feel like she picked up on it, honey. And the friends probably have always been afraid to say something because they think you're a little bit psycho and a little bit off your rocker. So now that Sarah has opened the door, they're saying what they feel like they were uncomfortable to say a long time ago. Like, please direct your anger to the correct person. And don't treat or speak to your friends that way. You have known them way longer than you've known Sarah, and you treat her with more respect than you treated your friend. Child, that's a whole fool. And that was the end of the episode. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about Brooks and Sarah's interaction. Do you agree with Sarah? I feel like Sarah came off as a know-it-all this episode. Like, Sarah, fall back, honey. You diagnosing everybody and trying to tell everybody what to do and how to do. I didn't really like that. I ain't like that at all. Okay, you started with Chanel and ended up with Brooks. Like, Brooks could use a little bit of help, but nobody wants to hear that about the way that they parent their child, because we're all doing the best that we can do. Brooks, keep your damn child at the house, honey. Boarding school is not the move. Well, what did y'all think about that? Do you agree with Sarah? Do you agree with Brooks? I see both sides. Also, tell me what you think about Caroline sitting with Sergio's family now that you know that they've tried to pay him off in order for him to get away from Stanberry. I don't know, honey. This episode here was something else. I thought it was very good. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.